Hello and welcome to the Alt Asset Allocation Podcast. Today's interview is with Matty from DCLblogger.com. Matty is absolutely obsessed with non-fungible tokens, or NFTs, and has been investing in this emerging asset class long before it was hot. In this episode, we dive deep into NFTs, especially into crypto art, digital collectibles, and virtual real estate. We also discuss common misconceptions that investors in the space make and how to avoid them, as well as the bull and bear cases for the subsectors within this space. There are tremendous disconnects in this very inefficient, nascent market, and lots to profit from if you know where to look. So Matty has been considered an expert in this growing space and has learned a lot on how to get started and succeed as an investor in this space. Hopefully in this episode you can benefit from his hours of work and learn to get involved in this exciting, growing market. Before you listen, please don't forget to like or subscribe to the podcast, or even better, leave a review. This really helps more people find the podcast and helps this thing keep going. It really, really helps. Are you buying or selling NFTs? Please let me know. I would love to hear this. Send me a message. Without further ado, Matty from DCLblogger.com on NFTs. Enjoy. Matty, welcome to the Alt Asset Allocation Podcast. Excited to have you.
Thanks. Happy to be here.
Awesome. So about 2 months ago, I had Devin Finzer on the podcast, CEO of OpenSea, talking about all things NFTs. And I actually haven't published that, but in this time frame, this 2-month time frame, NFTs went from something that was, oh, that used to be CryptoKitties, it's not interesting anymore, to suddenly center stage within the small ETH community, or at least. So you on Twitter, you say you're a virtual land / NFT investor, NFT obsessed, decentraland. You're the NFT guy on Twitter. So you've been following this space before it got super hot. So we'll dive into all those things, but I wanted to just start off a little bit about you, your background, and how you got into crypto and then NFTs.
So my background is more in marketing. I came into the whole digital marketing space, I don't know now, 2012, 2013. I was kind of obsessed with marketing, growing brands, blogging, social media, paid marketing, and all that, like how to grow a business development from a digital standpoint. And then crypto came onto the scene in 2017, and I don't think anyone could not pay it attention, right? You start to see Bitcoin go up in the thousands, and you're like, crap, I need to do something. So I jumped in and bought some altcoins, and then rode down the wave. And then Jan 2018, I was like, okay, well, my portfolio is coming crashing down. I need to diversify into something. I wasn't much of an investor back then. So just kind of going through what people tell you to do, which is diversify if things kind of go bad. So I found Decentraland because I like the logo, and it's a weird story because I just went to the second page of CoinMarketCap looking for a small cap coin, and I liked the logo, I liked the sound of it. It seemed like a game. So I clicked it, joined the Discord, and suddenly I was just like, holy crap, there's hundreds of people here buying and selling these digital land pieces. Back then, had no idea what NFTs were, had heard of CryptoKitties, but I didn't actually invest in it or look deeper into it. And then that's where it all began, kind of realizing that people are selling these digital land pieces for hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars. And it was mind blowing to me. And that's how I got involved.
Awesome. Yeah, no, it's so they were selling these land pieces for hundreds, if not thousands, but now, I mean, the transaction prices on these things are hundreds of thousands of dollars per art piece or land. So it's gone up by a massive order of magnitude. Just one note on your diversification. It's not real good diversification if you diversify out of crypto into another niche within crypto,
Yeah.
but we'll save that
Probably,
discussion for another day, right?
Yeah.
Before we get too deep into the weeds here, I think just back up a bit and explain what are NFTs, what are some types of them that exist out there?
So NFTs, from a tech standpoint, I can't really get too deep into it because my tech dev knowledge isn't the best. But I know like NFTs are tokens that live on the blockchain that represent a unique asset. And these unique assets are desired, one, because they may be a collectible, like something like a crypto kitty or a special card or a special sword or an art piece, or they have utility. For example, an NFT, which is a card in a game, but it's a special strong card. So you buy it because it's a strong card. Or it could be a access token to a virtual world. Maybe you're buying a VIP ticket that in Decentraland you can use to get up, and you click the door, and the door will pick up whether you have the NFT in your wallet or not, and then it'll let you through. So NFTs are kind of a way for us to do many, many things, but on the basic level, they, unlike ERC20 tokens where one Ethereum, one XRP equals another XRP, or one Ethereum equals another Ethereum, the fungibility is there. This is non-fungible, meaning that each asset within the project is completely different. Each CryptoKitty is different. Each digital land in Decentraland is different coordinates. Each token represents something different in this digital space. So that's kind of like the broad overview.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. So with NFTs, I mean, I get in-game items, I get domain names, tickets, definitely, collectibles, maybe, but the one I wanted to start with is art. So the idea is that you have this truly provably scarce, unique art piece, crypto art. It's growing massively right now. I mean, you see these crypto artists selling something for 50 ETH, quite a lot of money. So these crypto art collectors, and it's this wild new world. But I mean, the argument is always like, I can just take a screenshot of this crypto art and then I have it and then I can send it to all my friends. So just walk me through like the mindset of like, what is crypto art? Why is it unique? Why does this not make sense to take a screenshot?
And the art world is very, very different, and it kind of intersects with the collectability mindset of people. So like I explained before, you collect NFTs or you buy NFTs for the utility or the collectability value of it. Now, with your example, actually we'll quickly explain what NFT art is. So it's basically a way for artists to make some sort of a digital form of their art, whether it be 3D, or it could even just be an image, but it's a way of them to kind of attach a receipt to it, a receipt of authentication, of ownership, of scarcity, of Matty owns this piece that came from this special artist. That token is special because it came from the artist and it lives in my wallet. So people can track it on the blockchain that I, Matty, own the original piece. Of course, in terms of collectability, it has value. In terms of utility, of course, anyone can screenshot it and put it on the wall. Send it to your friends, PNG that, do whatever you'd like to do. There's people that collect Coke cans, Charizard cards, people that collect back scratches, like all kinds of silly things, right? And the reason why they collect it is unique to them. So what gives these value is that set of collectors that want to collect the original piece represented by this token. So of course, you could buy a Nike that's completely original, a special collector's edition, and they sell for thousands of dollars, or you could just buy a fake Nike off, some place that looks exactly the same for $20, and maybe buy 100 of them for the same price as you would a unique one. So the demographic appeal is completely different. The ones that give it value, and the reason why they're selling it for X amount of dollars, hundreds of Ethereum or whatever, is because the collector niche values them, not the utility niche, which is the majority demographic.
Okay, that makes sense. And I think, one of the qualities is the ownership record, because it's public, transparent, and permanent. You can always see that, oh, Matty owned this artwork and then he transferred it, so sold it to this other person. And you can kind of see this chain of ownership, which I think is really cool. And
so
the blockchain's perfect for it, right?
Exactly. The blockchain is perfect for it. But at the end of the day, people don't go to blockchain. Like, they don't open up Etherscan and check out, okay, where does Matty, who owns this and where did it transact? They go to the art platforms like Super Rare or Rareable, and they see who, they know a verified artist profile, and they can see the collectors that own the genuine piece. So my name, Matty, or DCL Blogger, is in the record for bidding on certain pieces. Now that's recorded on the blockchain, obviously, but displayed on Super Rare. So Super Rare is going to probably be a pretty popular platform to collect art. And if you make a fake of it and sell it on the blockchain, you rip it and make 100 copies of it, that's not going to be sitting on Super Rare, which all the collectors check out and value, right? So, I mean, as these websites mature and these, thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people follow Super Rare and check it out, that's the society or the social kind of group that will give these value. and you can rip it and do whatever you'd like and make 100 NFTs off it if you want. But this is where I guess the value will increase from that collector base.
Okay, yeah, and that makes sense. Walk me through, there's a number of different NFTs. What NFT category gets you most excited and why?
It's kind of a very new industry, so I'm more watching the industry mature at the moment. I'm a somewhat conservative investor relative to crypto, in the sense that I like to see maturity in the industry before I make my move, right? So I've been collecting art for like less than a month, I think, but Super has been out for like 2 years. People have been collecting art way before me, um, but I waited till Super Rare was at the top rankings for a while and stayed there for about 6 to 7 months until I paid attention. Because for me, that showed stability. So for me, I look for projects that are stable. So for example, Decentraland, it's been in the top 3, top 5 for like 2 to 3 years consistently now. And also other virtual land projects that seem to get a lot of people buying. And virtual land is something very interesting because people don't buy it to collect. They buy it to utilize that land and build something on that platform, which might potentially have millions of followers or millions of participants running around. You want to have land to showcase your work, maybe build a game, whatever it may be. So I think for me, I like to invest in the structural part of the industry, which seem to be platforms like Decentraland, which will tie all these together. Like Rarible is going to have a headquarter dropping on there. Binance has a headquarter that's dropped on there, and they have like another 10 to 15 projects that will be dropping, experiences, games, headquarters in the industry, and hopefully that trajectory will continue for the next 2 to 5 years. But you got Decentraland, and you also got like Rarible is going to be an art platform. Super Rare is going to be an art platform. So the structural part of it, hopefully they'll release some sort of an ERC20 investment part of it. But I also like things like art, which if I buy an art piece from a artist who I think will do extremely well in the future, who in 5 to 10 to 15 to 20 years take their art so seriously, they'll be on multiple galleries, they'll be like at the forefront of the NFT art movement. If I buy their early pieces, then I join them on that journey. So that's the beautiful thing about art, is it's kind of those things where you just buy the piece and you keep it. You help the artist if you want. I can put that art on my digital land in Decentraland when I run conferences, etc., build more awareness. But you join them on that journey. So I like to buy art from people or artists who I think will continue to give the art industry their everything, do it full time, grow their awareness, their brand, etc., entice more collectors to collect their pieces. And I'm excited about the art industry because of that. I think we're in the space of blockchain and crypto where people are very spend friendly, especially when crypto goes nuts and Bitcoin starts to hit dollars of like $20,000, $100,000. I'm sure there'll be a lot more. All right, where do I throw this money at? Kind of that'll be the mindset, right? That's what happened in 2017. So when that happens, I'd like to own the assets on the blockchain, which seem to be the next logical step for these people. When there's more like easy way to spend money or integrate smart contract value transfer between Ethereum, Bitcoin, and NFT assets. When that becomes a thing and people want to diversify their assets to something like art, and NFT art is staring them in the face once they have like a couple $1 million in Bitcoin, then I feel like a lot of that money will flow into the NFT space. So for me, it's kind of grabbing those before that happens.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I hadn't really thought about it like that. So it sounds like this is predicated and correlated to the overall crypto market, very much so, right? So the assumption, the bull case for like crypto art is that crypto is going to continue to explode and people want to diversify into some other more unique, like digital collectible sort of thing with their winnings, basically.
Yeah, I mean, like Super Rare, if you look at it, there's a really nice graph on OpenSea that shows the average price paid for any Super Rare art piece. And Super Rare is different to the other art platforms because the pieces that are released on them are only one of ones. They're all just one piece, but you can mint 100 pieces of the same art on these other platforms. Super Rare doesn't do that. So when they show a graph and say that the average price of a piece has increased from like 0.4 Ethereum to now it's 2 Ethereum, it shows you the overall sentiment. And this is going on for 2 years. So it's been going up during a crypto bear cycle, right? A bear phase. So for me, whether crypto blows up or not, that's kind of a cherry on top. But this industry will continue to grow because there's already billions of dollars in Bitcoin and Ethereum. And people I don't know, like the current choice for mainstream crypto is just throw it in another cryptocurrency. But as big sales happen in the NFT world and a digital land sells for $1 million or an art piece sells for $1 million, I'm sure a lot of that money will start to flow into this space, whether or not Bitcoin hits those larger numbers. But if it does, I think we're going to go even more crazier. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Fully expect that to happen. And then the like bull case with virtual real estate, virtual land, something like decentraland. The end goal is that this is the metaverse. Like what's kind of the unicorn bull case here?
I guess that would be the bull case. I think it'll be a collective of projects that will combine efforts. And the good thing about NFTs is their ability to be interoperable with other projects, right? And that hasn't been explored much at the moment, probably because most of these NFT projects are still stabilizing. They're building their user base. They're still kind of spending all their resources, time, money, 99% of it on just building a great platform. Once they can pull that out and kind of like focus on expanding, I'm sure the next logical step will be like, hey, crypto voxels, Somnium Space, Sandbox, let's work together. Let's give your NFTs some sort of value in our project. And I think that's going to create, that sort of metaverse vibe. DCL, I hope will be a big player in that. They have a lot of momentum. They're going to have like ATMs that you can just literally lock your funds in and provide liquidity for in a liquidity pool, or Uniswap, integrate into Uniswap. So they're very smart contract structured focused. That's their whole vibe. They're very tech focused over there at Decentraland. So companies like Binance and MakerDAO, when they drop, hopefully we can do more, specific things. But it's also that movement in giving it more utility, having fun events there, and kind of getting more of a user base to kind of stick to the online platforms. So as soon as we see that sort of a graph growing organically, I think that's when you'll start to see like it becomes a no-brainer to invest in these projects because it's going to continue to grow.
Yeah, and what major catalysts or things what needs to happen to get more people interested, go into these Decentraland events and things like that?
Mm-hmm.
What are we missing right now?
So before, I think the problem was, and the DeFi space has changed this a lot. The problem before used to be that not many people knew how to even operate a MetaMask account, a MetaMask wallet, right? So to engage in these NFT projects, one, you needed to learn how to download MetaMask and send crypto to it, manage the security of it, know how to handle gas fees. And for the dominant crypto space, this didn't make sense because people just love keeping their money on exchanges. But DeFi came along, and suddenly we have about $8 to $10 billion locked in these protocols, and now everyone pretty much knows how to use MetaMask, at least in that world. So when we see a cross of DeFi and NFTs, we see some pretty big numbers. So I think that has been a catalyst. And now when I run conferences, 50% of people are guests. That wasn't the case before, because I'm pretty active in running conferences in Decentraland. It used to just be like the handful of 20 to 30, 50 people maybe that are regular members there that regularly come to events. But now there's like 20 to 30 guests. I can just tweet a link to it. People can click it and join without a VR. It runs on the browser. So I think the catalyst will be like a game that, works really well, and maybe some MMO that people want to collect, something tied to, yield farming, gamified the whole to a level, gamified the whole DeFi space. People wanted to park their money there and earn some money, by doing so. So maybe there'll be a way to park your NFTs somewhere in Decentraland, or do some activities there that earn you some money that provides value to the platform as well, so it's sustainable and also the users doing it. But I think the catalyst will just be like a lot of experimentation, a lot of really big events. And I think something like having 2 to 3 really big events every day and increasing that user base will be a big thing. And I know they're going to roll out this whole movement and funding towards like proposals that propose conferences and building out games, etc. So that'll be a big play either at the end of this year or next year.
So say I'm a conference organizer. What is the benefit of doing an event in a place like Decentraland? Obviously, they're going to work with me and promote it because they want to encourage people to do this. But like, I'm thinking about my users, the people that are coming to this. Why do it in Decentraland versus just, Zoom or whatever?
So if you do a conference in Zoom, it's obviously it does the job. But I would assume with a virtual space where a lot can be done, for example, you can make like a special section. For example, after the conference, people can exchange NFT business cards, and you can have portals that are only unlockable if you own that business cards. So if you want to have a conversation with someone, they can give you a business card. You go to the portal, and only this is a discussion for people that are interested to learn more. So suddenly these virtual worlds can play around with the concept of NFTs and what they mean. You can probably sell courses as your NFT. People can buy sponsors as NFTs, and that visual thing maybe will give you some more ad space. Maybe you can have some banners around and entice sponsors to, once you have 100, maybe 200, 300 people attending your events, then it kind of becomes like, why do people go to real world conferences as opposed to Zoom? And kind of trying mimicking that in a virtual space, which suddenly opens it to the whole global space as opposed to just your local area when you're running conferences. So whatever can be done in the real world, it's kind of finding some sort of a solution in the virtual world.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what perfect, the stars have aligned with COVID and kind of the death of the in-person conference. I don't know if you went to like Consensus or LA Blockchain Week. They use Brella, which is like really nice, but not the same as a virtual conference that I can walk up to your little avatar and say, hey, in a place like Decentraland. I'm curious, being well versed on all these different NFTs, it sounds like you particularly follow virtual real estate, virtual land, artwork. But what is the NFT category that you, like, if you had to bet, that would gain mainstream adoption and use the quickest?
There's just so many to choose from. That's the problem. I feel it would be either art or gaming because they're both already proven industries. Virtual land is obviously very promising, but it's still a new industry, right? It's not there's still a lot to figure out to make it use utility-wise attractive and investment-wise even more attractive. But art has been in the traditional world of collecting for, I don't know, centuries. So, and gaming, you have people that come home, kids that come home and glue to their screen playing games for like the next 8 to 10 hours. So I think gaming and art, for example, right now, snapshot view, I'm just so bullish on the art market, but not the art market as a whole, certain artists that I'd like to invest in and buy and help promote because I think they're going to be pretty big. So I think, the whole art, or just like, even musicians coming in, other artists that develop things, even people that will probably start to make 3D art that will sell you NFTs, and you can take that NFT and deploy that 3D art in a virtual world like Decentraland, or just that whole art scene where it's going to give creators creative value and just have like this whole bunch of collectors that will come to. I feel like collecting is at the core of a lot of people in blockchain. I don't know why. I feel like just at a human level, you want to collect things. Like some people have that desire to just hold on to things that are special to them. And blockchain, crypto, there's a lot of people that came from gambling, gaming, and this whole like tech space. And I feel like a lot of them come from this collectability thing. So I feel like there's a big intersect there when they realize there's art and game assets and stuff they can collect.
There's like $100+ billion spent in Epic Games just on skins. So it's just like a shirt or something to it's a bit of collecting as well. So no, I mean, I totally get it. I'd be curious, what's the bear case? Like, why wouldn't crypto art take off?
I think the bear case would be if Bitcoin and Ethereum, these major currencies, take a big hit. The only reason why, or one of the big reasons why people are spending X amount on these is because Ethereum is worth a few $100s, like $400, $500. So when you spend a 3 to 4 Ethereum, for the crypto person, it's not that much money. It may be in some scenarios, but a lot of people bought Ethereum and Bitcoin for a couple of dollars, especially Ethereum. Bitcoin, maybe they bought for a few $100s, and them easily kind of them spending the same one Bitcoin, but now being able to buy like 4 to 5 art pieces is a big deal. And so for the artists, it's like, holy crap, this is big money. Like, how is someone spending a couple of $1,000s on our art? But for us, it's like 3 to 4 Ethereum. And many of us have a lot of Ethereum, right? But if Ethereum and Bitcoin and like that sort of a cryptocurrency market takes a big hit, and we start to see, $2,000 to $3,000 Bitcoin, $50 to $100 Ethereum, I think people will want to hold on to their crypto a lot more and not be as much spend happy. And artists will probably see that happen. In the short term, that will probably be the case. But in the long term, as just money turns digital and then these digital solutions become more mainstream. I think long term, then it's not going to have that big of an impact.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think that makes a lot of sense. Looking at all of these developments, I mean, there's a lot of hype within the NFT space. What aspect is getting you so excited, or what crazy new things are you looking at that get you really, really excited in the space?
So I've been invested in the NFT space, mentally, emotionally, physically, everything for like the last 2 to 3 years. So I've watched this space mature, and I've known that, some projects have put like their heart and soul into developing their product. And although now they're getting attention, and I guess you can say there's sort of a hype cycle, NFTs have been selling for like $50,000, $100,000 before many people even knew about them. Like a year or two ago, we had like Decentraland sell like a $215,000 land. And, we've seen so much happen over the last 2 years as opposed to the current cycle. So for me, it's not so much what's new, it's who's established. And I know that the previous cryptocurrency mindset, especially in 2017, was, oh, who's the new next so-and-so, and who's the next small market cap coin that's going to be the next kind of Uber or whatever it is, right? But the NFT space, especially with gaming and platforms, virtual worlds, there's just so much dev work that needs to be done. 2 years, 3 years heads down, creating a product, stabilizing it. They're still going through issues and trying to make voice chat more better, and people jumping the platform still having bugs and stuff. And for me, the question becomes, do I really want to invest in something where I have to wait another 1 to 2 years past the hype cycle of, oh, it's a lower market cap coin, or it's new? There's going to be so many shiny things. And the ones that are going to stand out are the ones that already have a product currently and a user base that's growing. So I'm excited to watch whoever's already established start to hit that exponential curve. Like you start to see the curve go like this, not in terms of price, but in terms of user base. Thousands of people starting to play Axie Infinity, or hundreds of people going to conferences in Decentraland, that going 300 people, 500 people. That's my excitement level, not so much the price. The price will go up and down, but the user base will add to that kind of floor structure of these projects. So I know there's many projects coming up, like we got Avogotchi and a bunch of different projects that are saying they're going to do this, they're going to do that. But for me, like, do I really want to wait another 1 year? I'm exhausted, man. Like I'm happy with like the projects that have already established. So I'm a conservative guy. I just wait for momentum, and the right kind of momentum, before I put my money. I'm happy to be late to the party and miss a pre-sale, but still be early and get in before it goes exponential.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So investors, they survey the landscape. They're interested in NFTs. These undoubtedly will be around, whether it's an individual crypto artist or whatever. But like the concept of NFT will be used in-game items, tickets, something like will be a use case, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you talk to investors about finding out more in the space? Where do you point them to get started?
Right. That's a common question I get, and it's quite difficult because one, the kind of websites that display data in a user-friendly way where you can make these investment decisions real quick, they're not there yet. They're not UI friendly yet. Like CoinMarketCap, you can just scan it and suddenly you know how the top 100 coins are doing within the next 2 to 3 minutes, right? But they're not there yet. So I'm working on a couple of websites that will display this data in a very CoinMarketCap way, friendly way, where you can just go on and see the top trending artists, the most recent sales, the profit the collector made, the overall market cap of each artist, the platforms they're on, etc., and just scan it the way that you want. And I think once these kind of things come up, they'll be very easy for people to learn to take the next step and invest. But at the moment, it's just old school. You got to go to, I think OpenSea rankings is a good way to just see who the top trending projects are by volume. And then it's kind of like watching CoinMarketCap, and you suddenly see something go up 100%. You pay attention, you jump in, you ask questions, you ask why. And it's one of those things. It's a similar kind of educational process where you can go to OpenSea rankings, suddenly you see something go up like 800% in terms of volume. You click in, you join the Discord, you ask what's going on, you learn about the assets that have sold. You can go to non-fungible.com as well, that show recent sales history of different projects. But you got to learn exactly why these specific NFTs are selling for that price. Maybe it's, maybe like the plant axes in Axie Infinity, which is like a Tamagotchi kind of Pokemon kind of game, maybe the plant ones are becoming that maybe they made a tweak to the algorithm and now suddenly the plant ones have become really strong, right? And that maybe that's what's happened. Or maybe some big investor came in and bought like the bottom floor of the cheapest fire type or whatever it is. So, you got to know what happened and how the game's been influenced, and then kind of educate yourself on the whole thing. But it's something that you can't learn in a day or two. I think the best way to just observe the space, be immersed in it, find the tools, and just watch the space for a bit until your mind kind of collects exactly what's going on. And it's kind of like trying to understand the Pokemon card collection world, the whole art collection world, the whole like, why people collect Magic the Gathering cards or whatever it may be. It's trying to understand all of those industries in a day. It's not going to happen, right? It's going to take you time.
And I love this about crypto, right? I mean, because you try to wrap your head around something like Bitcoin. And it's like, well, you need to understand monetary policy and economics and financials and like all of these things. And the same thing with NFTs. It's like, I want to dive into NFTs. It's like, okay, do you understand the art collection and real estate investing and all of the gaming, like all of these things, right? All wrapped up into NFTs.
Yeah,
So
I'm going to be releasing a 15 video kind of free video overview tutorial set for people though. What NFTs are, why collectors want them, going over like the art market, the collectible market, the top projects, etc. So I'll probably be dropping that by the end of the week. So that'll probably be a really good starting point if you just want to absorb all this knowledge and then kind of go on your way. So I think people that do more of that will definitely accelerate the space.
awesome. Yeah, and I'll definitely link that in the show notes when it comes out. It'll be released by the time it's out for sure. So the tools that you had mentioned were non-fungible, I think it's .com, OpenSea. I mean, do you use like Dune Analytics for some of this stuff too, or what else?
I don't use Dune Analytics. I really just heard of it like a couple of weeks ago. Maybe I should, but yeah, I'm so immersed in the space. Like my Twitter feed just notifies me every time something happens. I have a Discord channel called NFT Investors Hub, where I've got bots that ping me every time a sale happens, or pings us every time a sale happens. So we all go in and we're like, oh, holy crap, this sold for $2,000. We all discuss about it. It's one of those things where every day, you're getting notified that this sells, that sold, and over like a period of 2 to 3 months, you kind of know the valuations in your head because you've just been so part of that conversation and discussions.
That bot sounds like my nightmare. The
Yeah,
notifications, especially now. When it was once a day before, it probably wasn't a big deal. Now it's like multiple times an hour. So
yeah, you can. So the thing with the Discord bot, I know, like I have like 10 to 15 of those bots that ping you on different projects. But if you mute the ones that you don't want to hear from, but you leave like the digital land ones, then you're like, you get pinged 4 or 5 times a day. And if you're in that learning phase, it's really good because you want to know why and how these sell. So it's good for at least a week or two until you figure it out. Then you can just mute it.
Gotcha. And I'll link all those things in the show notes for sure. What is the biggest mistakes that you see new investors in the space make?
I think coming with the mindset of just throwing your money into the next big thing. In the NFT industry, it's different because it's the maturity of that specific project that gives it long-term value. And there's going to be it's kind of why the ICO thing went to 2017. Like so many companies, they had beautiful ideas, but they couldn't execute. And suddenly most of them went down like 95, 99%, right? 90% plus was like the majority of the projects from their all-time highs. So I think like, it's easy to get carried away with hype, and especially pre-sales for NFT projects where they say, hey, we're going to release 1,000 of these special X editions for our game. And traditionally what's happened with pre-sales is that these projects, they run these pre-sales for like a month or two, and everyone kind of runs in because they're like, oh, this game's going to be huge. They buy them, all that stuff. And then they got to wait a year or two for the game to develop. And in that year or two, there's another pre-sale. There's another like 10 to 15 pre-sales that people are throwing their money at because it's more shiny, it's more better. But during that time where all this is happening and these games are under development, you see those people that FOMO into the pre-sale, just sell their NFTs for cheaper on OpenSea or whatever, just to quickly buy into the next one. It's kind of that hype cycle. So I see like the same mindset happening where people just want to get into the next big thing. But it's one of those things, just take your time to learn exactly what the hell's going on. If you want to be a short-term investor and you want to just trade, then maybe you know things better than me. Jump into the pre-sale if you just want to buy and sell real quickly, or however you want to play the market. But if you're a more long-term person that actually wants this to have value, then I think the stronger bet are with the communities that are already formed, the Discord groups that are already 5,000, 10,000 people strong, that already have buzzing conversations of people that are excited to play the game, and that they've had 10 to 15 tournaments for the last year, and each one keeps getting bigger and better. I think stable growth in these projects are very underestimated from the broader crypto crowd, because stable growth is one of those things where it's just a matter of time until it goes exponential, as opposed to just a big spike up and then like nothingness for the next year or two. So I think, people just not doing the research and just FOMOing in, which is the language of crypto. But with NFTs, you can lose your money much more quicker, because if you buy into this stuff and the volume dries up, well, then you're just left with an image or an NFT that no one wants to buy. So
yeah, I mean, it's similar to the real estate or the art market, right? There's not this massive liquid market for this obscure painting on my wall. There's not many people that are willing to buy it, and the same thing goes for digital art.
Yeah, the liquidity is just so thin, especially with people may FOMO in because there's $1,000 sales happening, and they're like, holy crap, there's $1,000 sales happening, but the overall volume is probably like $500,000 that the company generates, which is tiny. It's so tiny. So in like 3 to 6 months, if they can't have some sort of decent secondary market volume, you can't sell anything. So for me, Decentraland is great because it's got like $25 to $50 million worth of volume over the last 2-3 years. So I know people will continue to come and buy and sell land. There's enough of a base there. And I look for projects that have similar type of things. I know the art like Super Rare, or is just the art industry altogether is kind of going down that trajectory as well. So for me, I want to see these mature to a level where I'm comfortable putting in X amount of money, because I know I can pull it out. And that's the most important thing.
Nice. I'd be curious on your thoughts on like fractionalized NFT ownership, like I think Niftex, and then NFT-backed loans, which I think are two like support niches that have popped up.
Niftex is great. I love Niftex. I talk to them quite a lot. I'm probably going to invest in their company as well. I just love what they're doing, fractionalizing or providing liquidity to these non-liquid markets. And I think as more people come to know about these projects, something like Niftex will be perfect. Right now, it's quite niche. Someone wants to shard or fractionalize a Axie Infinity asset. There's only like 1,000 people that know of it, maybe 50 to 100 people that participate. But the moment these projects grow and become huge, a project like Niftex, where you could shard or fractionalize like a $1 million sword, it's going to go nuts. It's going to be an awesome one. It's really cool because everyone can now own the piece of this sword. And then you can add this new thing where, okay, everyone that owns a fraction of the sword, well, you're going to own, when you're using, you can also use the sword, not the main sword, but you can use maybe a skin that represents the sword or something. So much more can be done now with this fractionalizing or whatever it is. But yeah, very excited for them to mature, and hopefully they'll be a big part of this industry. I think it's, I kind of think in my mind how our Binance or the bigger cryptocurrency exchange is going to capitalize on the NFT trading space with these volumes, because it's not easy to build some sort of a interface that everyone are comfortable to buy and trade easily, right? Because each asset is different. It's not like you can't put the same indicators that you can in Binance with like charts and stuff. So something like Niftex will probably do it better. NFT backed loans is quite interesting. It depends what you're backing it by. Are you backing it by crypto or fiat? With fiat, things are just so volatile in the NFT space because the asset, there's so many factors here. There's Bitcoin, if Bitcoin moves, if Ethereum moves, if the NFT space moves, if fiat kind of drops, there's so many factors that now.
Well, how do you value it, right? It's like I have this parcel of land in the boondocks of Decentraland. It's like, yeah, it's worth this amount. Like, who knows?
Yeah, it's just so much to do, right? Exactly. The learning curve is big, but especially with Decentraland, because you have now Mana as well, and then you got Bitcoin, Ethereum, and if any of these currencies move, it does move the marketplace mentality. So
Yeah, so there's
yeah,
so many variables. I mean, it gets me excited, right? Because like these are the fundamental, like foundational, crazy building blocks that need to exist. But like, yeah, maybe a little bit early. But Niftex
yeah.
is super cool.
Well, that's what I mean with Decentraland. What you brought up is exactly the issue that these data websites need to solve, right? So I've got a website coming out which categorizes each land based on what they are. So all the lands that are connected to a road, all the lands that are not connected to anything in the far outskirts. So it categorizes these and it puts it at like the average price, the cheapest ones available, etc. So and the price increase over time. So you can kind of know by category, 5 or 6 categories, a better buyer decision. Straight away you can scan the market and know, okay, well, it looks like lands connected to roads are increasing more than the lands connected to that are not connected to roads. So instead of going to Decentraland, looking at each individual piece, these are the things that are needed, right? Not just for Decentraland, for cross platforms to understand the space better. But just to answer your question on NFT backed loans, I like the concept of it, but I just feel like it's risky in terms of just the volatility of the market. Like you could default on your loan just because the Bitcoin market, the crypto market tanks and people are just dumping their land, or maybe they're dumping their assets, and suddenly, you can't honor that loan. And it's just risky because there's no stability yet in that space. Maybe for art, it could be different though.
Yeah, still same difficulties of valuing it for sure. I'm curious that new website that you're launching, did you mimic this or design this after some tool that exists for buying land plots and the way that they're categorized?
I did look at what's around already. I know there's a really good website for Gods Unchained. It's called tokentrove.io. It's a community website. And what it does is you can actually click on each card, and each card has like thousands of cards of the same card, right? But you can see each purchase that's been done over time, and it's been graphed out. So you can see that, all right, well, this card went to 0.2 ETH, it's fallen back to 0.1, and it's got like data plots of the last like 300 sales. So you can kind of see exactly what's going on and make a very good investor judgment of where you're buying it in the cycle of its kind of lifetime. So are you buying it at its peak? Are you buying it at its low? And it also shows you the volume. It also shows you how many people are buying it, where the volume dips are, and how that volume constituted or correlated with the price. And so I took that, and also something like Non-Fungible, which shows the data very well. There's a really good website that existed before. I think it was called like Decentrastats or something. It was really old. It only lasted like 3 months. But just taking these into consideration and knowing that there needs to be websites that are very easy to just look at and kind of understand straight away. And that's kind of how I based the DCL one and also the art one, which I'm hopefully going to release soon.
Matty, this was great. I mean, so you have a blog, you have these video tutorials coming out, an ebook, tons of resources, this Discord. Where do you want to send my listeners? Where can they find out more about you, what you're working on?
Just join my Twitter. My Twitter is probably the best thing you guys can join. DCL Blogger on Twitter. Every day I do a 2-minute update on the NFT industry. So if you don't have time for anything, you get pinged on Twitter and you know exactly what's gone down in the last 24 hours, every single day, Monday to Friday. I try and take a break on the weekend. But it's exciting because every day I'm like hunting around for information. There's so much stuff that's going on, and I love covering it in that 2-minute segment. So I'd say Twitter is probably the best thing you can do.
Awesome. And those video updates are really great. Last bonus question, because I'm very curious. How do you curate the content to find what happened in this day? I mean, is it literally just trolling through Twitter for a while?
It is, but I'm going to make a website for that too. I come from a background of making web assets. So as soon as I have a problem, I try and make my own solution to it. But I want to make something that, hooks into the feed of all these blogs on all these websites and filters them for anything NFT related and displays it all onto one feed. Just a link by link. So on the front page, you can see the last 30 to 50 articles that have come out NFT related, all on one page. So at the moment, it's all just I'm in WhatsApp groups, I'm in Discord groups, I'm on Twitter, and I just screenshot things that I come across over my 24-hour period, and I just spend some time covering it.
Matty, really appreciate having you on today. Thanks so much.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
There you have it. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate your support. Show notes, transcript, links, and more can be found on our website at altassetallocation.com. If you'd be so kind, please share this with anyone you think might be interested or get some value from this conversation. If you have any questions or comments, please reach out. I'm always happy to hear them. Lastly, if you're on YouTube, please like the video or subscribe to the channel. If you're listening to the audio version of this, please subscribe to the podcast and or leave a review. This really helps more people find the podcast, and I really appreciate it. Thanks again, and hope you have a fantastic day. Happy investing.